Welcome to Urban Worship Xtreme. Today is going to be a powerful day for you. Whether you're a pastor, musician, a singer, a worship leader, your life, your talent, your abilities are getting ready to change. In Solomon's temple, the musicians were skilled musicians, and today you're going to receive some wisdom. The Bible says, if any of us lack wisdom, let us ask of God. And so we're going to ask God today, as you watch this DVD, that you will receive wisdom, information. The only difference between winners and losers is information. And I tell you, this is going to make you not only an anointed musician, but a very skilled musician as well. Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, this is the day that you have made. We rejoice and we're glad in it. Father, I thank you as we take our time, the precious gift of time that you've given us, and we invest in ourselves to watch this DVD, to cause us to be better musicians, better singers, better, more talented than we've ever been before. Father, I thank you that you will open our minds and our abilities to see new information that will help us bring a fresh anointing to our churches, to the gatherings that we're involved in. We thank you that today will be a life-changing day. This isn't just another teaching video, but this is an anointed video, anointed DVD that will change our life and ministry forever. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Today is going to be an incredible day for you. I hope you're ready. I'm Dr. Dave Martin, and I want to introduce to you someone who is not only an incredible musician, but he's also a gifted teacher, and most importantly, he's an anointed man of God. I want to introduce you, Jamal Hartwell.
First of all, we want to give honor and thanks to the Lord for allowing all this to happen. And we want to give thanks to the Lord for you who've purchased the old Urban Worship DVD and the new Urban Worship Xtreme. We call this Xtreme because we go into the extreme chords of tritones and all kinds of neo-soul and jazz stuff. I just want to thank you once again for supporting the website, for all the members and everybody who's made this possible. What we want to do right now, we just want to introduce the band. What we have going, we have now the GK Hump. We call this the GK Hump. Some people have said, can you play that GK Hump again? So what we're going to do is show you what the GK Hump is. If you don't know what it is, go to the website and go to the Byron Chambers when we did the Shed session. But show us what that GK Hump is, Ivan. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, okay. Introduce the band members. A lot of rehearsal goes along with these DVDs, a lot of practice, a lot of late nights, 3 in the morning. My man over here, Ivan, I met him this year, probably known him for 3 months, and the guy helped me out. Just want to appreciate him, and show us what you got, Ivan. A little bit of solo. Santiago, everybody. Now on drums, y'all seen him, Mr. Talkbox, but you didn't know he could play the drums too. Appreciate him helping me out last minute. Who we have on the drums is Byron Chambers, better known as Mr. Talkbox. Give me something, Doc. Warren Chambers, y'all. Now, when I was trying to figure out how to do this DVD, I moved here to Orlando, and I was trying to find a vocalist, and everybody kept saying, Heath, Heath, Heath. And I'm like, who is this Heath guy? And they're like, you got to get Heath on the DVD. So I got Heath Burgett on the DVD. Show us a little something, Heath.
If I had 10,000 tongues, I would use everyone to help me find a way to give you praise. If I had 10,000 tongues, I would use everyone to help me find the ways to give you praise.
All right, Heath Burgett, everybody. Now let's take it up. You too, Heath.
If I had 10,000 tongues, I would use everyone to help me find a way to give you praise. If I had 10,000 tongues, I would use everyone to help me find a way to give you praise. Oh my. Lord, we give you praise, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh.
Okay, Urban Worship Extreme. I want to thank everybody for purchasing my first DVD. We call this Urban Worship Extreme because we're going to take what we did in urban worship and we're going to take it to the next level. Now, some of the feedback from the first DVD from a lot of our customers were that, you know, maybe some of the information was too basic. Some of the information might have been, you know, stuff that you've already known. So we're taking it to that next level. Some of the things we're going to do in this DVD, we're going to set the stage by setting a foundation. Now, what I mean by foundation, we're going to give you the keys to the tritones, the big brother of the tritone, which is the ditone, and I'll show you about that. We're going to go into different movements, the 1-3-6 variations. We're going to go into all of the different movements that you see in all of your gospel music and as you're playing. And then we're going to go into different chord substitutions. What I mean by chord substitutions, I know sometimes you may be sick of playing the same thing over. For example, the circle of fifths. We're going to give you remixes to the circle of fifths. We're going to give you different movements for the 2-5 and things that you always play. We're also going to go over some neo-soul, but obviously it's not neo-soul in the world, but obviously we're bringing it home in a gospel setting. We got artists like Ty Trevette, Tone, who have taken gospel music to that next level. And my goal is to make sure that some of you who may play an old school style don't get left behind. Or those of you who already play, you want to take it to that next level. So we're taking it all the way out. We call this Urban Worship Extreme. What we're going to do, we're just going to show you all of the fatness. And we're going to keep it in more of a shed style session. What musicians, what we call shed style is that if you think of a snake has to shed his skin in order for him to live. So as musicians, what we're going to do, we're going to shed our cords to you on this DVD in order for us to get more. You can only get more if you give out more. So in this DVD, we call it Extreme because I'm going to give you every fat chord that I've remembered over the years, the craziness, as you say. So we're taking it out and we're extending it, and we want to thank you for purchasing Urban Worship Extreme. All right, now, our first lesson, we're going to call this Major Seventh on Steroids. On my first DVD, we showed you about the major sevenths. That major seventh, we're going to do an A-flat major seventh, which is A-flat, C, E-flat, and then the G, okay? Now, you know that the major seventh is a foundation of gospel music. It is a foundation of jazz and like that neo kind of feel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you an alternate to play on that major seventh. And I call this the major seventh on steroids. So let's look at the A-flat major seventh here. We look at that A-flat major seventh. Now, usually on the A flat major 7th, you're going to play that F in your bass, which looks like this. Stretch it out. You got your F, your C, and your G. Then you go A flat, C, E flat, G. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take that out and put it and add some steroids to this. So here's what it will look like on steroids. We make it even fatter. Now let me show you what I did. We took that same A flat major 7th and we just stretched it out over here. It's looked like an E flat chord over here, which is the E flat, G, and the B flat, and then we added that same bass we had on the A flat. So the best thing about these movements is that you can go see, that gives you instant fatness. So let me show you what I just did. Now you can use this kind of stuff in talk music. Now what we do, we take that A flat major 7th on steroids like we did, A flat, E flat, G, B flat, F, C, and G, and you can make half step or whole step movements playing the same chord. So say a preacher is talking or something like that, you can do something like, all I did was take that down a half step and take it down a whole step. Take it down another whole step. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm building a foundation of chords, and after I show you the foundation, then we're going to start using the chords in different movements, and we're going to give you some songs to go by. So we take this A flat major 7th on steroids here. Now the thing to remember with this is you have to couple the bass note with your major 7th. Now what I mean by that is that if I'm playing an A flat major 7th and I'm in a key of E flat, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to play that F. So I should be able to give you a bass note and you couple that with that major 7th. For example, if I say C, you should know to go to that one. If I say A flat, if I say A, if I say B flat. So what I want you to do is start memorizing the entire scale. So for example, let's go back to this F. This is the major 7th that goes along with the F. Once again, we took the bass up by spreading out the chords. We're going F, C, G, then that major 7th, A flat, E flat, G, B flat. That puts it on steroids. Instead of playing this, it just fattens it up a little bit. So for example, if you want to know what it looks like in F sharp, just slide everything up a half step like this. So as your first assignment, what I want you to start doing is memorizing every single major 7th that goes with each bass note. For example, D bass note, C bass note. Then we go to the A flat bass note. So the power of this is that if you hear a song, you should be able to, if you are able to pick out the bass note, you can couple that major 7th in your right hand. So it's real powerful. So for example, if you're doing something and you know the bass note goes, it goes like that, F, G, A flat, you can go. Now you have to use your ear to figure out if it kind of goes with that. There's certain movements that we do, like that you can use that, the major 7th. Now you notice when I went to the A flat, I didn't use this major 7th that went along with it. So part of your experience is to learn how to use your ear. But if you notice that movement, I used all major 7ths in just that one movement, except for the A flat. So you normally would have done, but to fatten it up, we added that. And these are the keys to some of my chords and some of my movements. I use this a lot. Now what we're going to do, that is what you call an open movement. I play, personally, my personal style, I use open movements when I'm playing the piano. And you had to notice that when you play that chord, you kind of slide it. Don't play it all at the same time. So it's... Now see, the thing about it, sometimes you might play the same chords that I play, but sometimes the feel is what you have to start learning. For example, if I just played... I played the chord, but watch when I roll my fingers and then play them kind of almost sloppy. That's what starts to give you that feel. So now what we're going to switch up, we gave you the substitutions for the major sevenths. That's the major seventh on steroids. Now this next one is what I call the major seventh, but we're going to scrunch it together. Now, that when I'm playing the piano, I play that open movement, right? Now this major seventh gives you something that's more of a neo-soul kind of feel. So let's go back to a C sharp major seventh, okay? Here's that C sharp major seventh. Here's the C sharp major seventh on steroids. Now here is a scrunched version of it. Now this is a major seventh. We're on the second inversion, but then I took that F up to that E flat and scrunched it together. See, it gives you that little feel. It gives you like that neo kind of soul kind of feel. I must admit, I ripped this from Vanessa Bell Armstrong. They sing a song, I Don't Know Why Jesus Loves Me. And at the end of it, this guy went, and I was like, what the heck did he do? It don't even go with the scale. But I learned that when you're doing these major sevenths like this, you can actually go in a chromatic fashion and get back to your destination. Now let me show you what I did. We took that C sharp major seventh. Took that second inversion, so the chord is looking B flat, F, then A flat, C, D flat, E flat, okay? And we take that same movement and we move in whole steps, the same chord. So part of your assignment is also to remember that. So we're going to the F. You should be able to couple up a major seventh immediately. Here's the open movement. Here's the closed movement. Okay? Now, what we're going to start to show you is different ways different movements to get into that. Now, let me show you what I did on that. And we took the A flat major seventh, we took the F, D, E flat, C. Now we're starting to get into like a little bit of neo-soul feel. We're starting to build the foundations of where I'm going with the new era, of where we're going with gospel music and a little bit of that neo era. So we take it. So what I want you to start learning on this first assignment is to remember these major sevenths. Remember the open version. Remember the closed version. So this major seventh is going to, as you see in this continuation of the DVD, is going to be a major part of your foundation and a major part of the chords that you start using. Okay, now I've been getting a lot of emails from the website. Everybody's been asking about these tritones. I touched a little bit of it in the first DVD, but I know I didn't go into it. Tritones are the key to gospel music. But before we get into the tritones, there is something else in gospel music that some people think they're tritones, but they're not tritones. It's actually a ditone. Di meaning two. The reason why they call it tritone is because it moves up in 3 steps. So if we're at this F, count up 3, 1, 2, 3. But the ditone would be 2. Like that. So before we go to the tritone, we're going to talk about the ditone. Now, what is this ditone? I don't know if that's the technical name for it, but to get it in your head to remember that it's 2 instead of 3 on the tritone, we're going to call it the ditone for now. I call it the little brother of the tritone. It's the hidden secret in gospel music. Now, the way we form this ditone, let's go to C. We go to C, we count up 2, 1, 2, there's your ditone. Now, the way I do my lessons and the way I do my delivery, I always teach you in clumps because it's good to recognize things in patterns. So I give you the left hand and the right hand because usually if you can match the left hand, then there's a right hand associated chord that goes along with it. So the way this works is that the ditone is always coupled with a suspended chord, okay? So I'm going to play the first ditone in C since everybody, you know, can pretty much play in C. It kind of creates that off. So let me show you what I did. That ditone was formed this way. We go to the C. You count up 2. And then if your bass note is going to be C on your ditone, remember that the farthest to the left, your first note is going to be the root to your ditone. So that's usually going to be the bass note of what you hear. For example, if you're listening to a song and you want to form the ditone, a good way to think of it is to listen to the main bass line. If the main bass line is C, then you're going to form your ditone like this. Now, if we're in C, we go up another whole step and we go to B flat and we do A flat suspended. We do a suspended chord here. So this is going to be the foundation of that ditone. You will almost always play it this way. So we got the ditone on the left. It's going to be coupled with a suspended. Now, I know you're thinking, how is it used? It sounds sweet. How do we use it? Well, this ditone is going to be a substitution for your diminished chord, okay? So let's go to A flat, okay? Everybody hears that. You hear that all the time. So if I wanted to add the ditone to that, we would go. So instead of playing this chord, you would play your ditone here. Now, we're not done with that. The beauty of this, and the reason why this makes stuff really fat, is because if you move this ditone in whole steps, you can start creating fillers. Now, a lot of you have been asking me, you say, I can play a song, but you don't know how to fill up the song with something fat. This ditone will help you fill up a song. So, for example, if you're in A flat, okay, and you want your movement is going from the C to the F, then what you want to do in the ditone is go. See, that's the beauty of the ditone, is that you can move and create a fat kind of sound. So let me show you what I did. I just did a regular A flat to 1, then we went to the 3, but that 3 is the ditone. We couple it with the suspended, which is B flat, E flat, A flat. Then we go over. See, that's how you form your passing chord. So this is how I look at it. C is your start, F is your destination. So your goal is to try to get from C to F the fattest way you know how. So the quickest way to do that is to use those ditones. So let's do a movement. We keep going from so you're like, well, that's okay. How do I get to C from F the fattest way I know how? Well, starting off with these ditones. So it's let me show you what I did. We started at the 1, play this regular 1 chord, your right hand, A flat, B flat, C, E flat. Now we're going to the C, make that a ditone. How do you make it a ditone? Think of di meaning 2. Go up 2 steps, okay? You couple that with an A flat, E flat, A flat. I don't know a pattern of that. You're just going to have to memorize it. Remember, you're going to have to remember all your ditones. Remember every single one in every single key. Just go all day. So that's your first assignment. When I give you a bass note, you should be able to form the ditone. If I give you G, you should immediately go on a ditone. If I give you A, you should be able to go on a ditone. If I give you B flat, you should be able to go to it. And another thing I want you to practice is going up in whole steps on this ditone. Okay, so the ditone is very, very powerful. You hear this stuff. These are some of the chords that you hear but you don't know how to play because it creates such a crazy harmonic. If you look at this ditone, it doesn't really look like it should. It doesn't look like it should make sense because it's not even in the scale. So this ditone is an awesome way to use your passing tones. So let me show you something here. Now, one of the things I want to warn, this is an urban worship DVD, and my goal is to make sure that you get, all the chords that you can to sound, as fat as you want to sound. But also I want to let you know that the chords that I'm showing you here, you are not, I hope you don't hit all these chords on Sunday morning because this is too busy. So what you want to do is you want to play regular. You want to spot hit it. You want to spot hit it in and out because you don't want to take away from the flow of the anointing. You don't want to take away from the service just because you know how to do these fat chords. So now another way to do this ditone, let's go back to the C. Count up to E. If you really want to make it fat, take this C all the way down here. And it creates like this 13th. Now, for those of you who wrote on my DVD and say you got small fingers and you can't hit this chord, that is not true. I know people with smaller fingers than me and they can stretch. The reason why you can't stretch is because you got to start getting your fingers used to stretching like that. The reason why you can't stretch is because your hands are not the muscles in your hands are not ready to hit it like that. So what you have to do is start exercising. I used to couldn't hit this, but as I start hitting these chords more, I started to be able to hit those. So if you really want to fatten it up, you can take that C all the way down. But for most part, we just go like this. Now, the purpose of the ditone, again, they're passing notes. They're passing notes, and they're associated with the bass note. So if your bass note is going from A to the B flat, now another way to play this ditone is it's a good substitution for the 1 chord. So instead of playing this suspended chord in your right hand, what you might want to play is I ripped this from a whole bunch of musicians. A lot of musicians use this. Because think about it, the regular 1 chord is boring now. Let's play it like we did with the 1 chord. Boring. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this chord is because the beauty of this, too, is that when you rest on this ditone, you're going to change your right-hand chord to be A, D, and G. So also one chord. Take it up. So if you're playing that one chord, you can substitute it with that ditone. Now, if you want to give it like a jazz feel, what you can do is move this suspended chord in half steps to give it that off jazz feel. Let's do it one more time, fellas. 1, 2, ready, go. So now you're starting to build a foundation of chords. These are the secret chords that, you know, musicians always try and get from other musicians, and they hide their hands like this. Well, this is the ditone. We'll play it on the 1. Now, if we're playing it like this is a passing tone to get to the major 7th. And we'll show you all this later because we'll do different examples. Now, what I wanted to show you to show this extreme ditone in an example. Here we go. So, now let me show you the movement here in the major sense. We go. So it's E flat, A flat, B flat, and then your bass is going E flat, C, D. We go to B diminished, then we go to E flat major 7th, F chord, B flat chord, suspended chord, like an A flat. Then now let me show you that in a ditone form. So remember what I said, the ditone is going to be a part of your bass. So we go. So that is the extreme use of the ditone. So we went here, right? So we substituted that with the 1 that I showed you. So it's then the bass note is B. So you can really use these ditones however you wish. So it's like ditone. So it spices up. It gives you instant. This ditone gives you instant flavor to this major chord. And then we go. See how I'm coupling it with the bass note? If the bass note goes E flat C E, I'm sorry, E flat C D, we go. So I just wanted to show you that example. We'll take a common song like that, just totally take it out into the ditone. We're going to move on into the tritones and give you different chords for the tritones and just go crazy with the tritones. Now we're going to talk about what everybody's been asking for the tritone. Okay, we talked about the ditone. Now we're moving into the tritone. And to help me out, demonstrate, the lesson of the tritone, we got Todd Wilson. You remember him from the Dynamic Drumming DVD. He also was playing keys a little bit. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create, because I already know about the tritone, so I wanted to create an atmosphere such that a student who is just learning the tritone can ask questions from a student standpoint, okay? All right, let's get into this. Now we're talking about the tritone. There's about 3 major ways to use this tritone. One of the ways we can use the tritone is as a passing tone, okay? So we look at the tritone, how it's formed. Tri meaning 3, so 3 whole steps above. So if you go to the, say, the F sharp, 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use this tritone. All right, let's get started. Now the main way I use the tritone, I use it as a passing tone. So if I'm doing something like this, now usually the tritone is associated with your bass as well. So for example, just like the ditone, if I'm going to A, I'll play this tritone. Now let me show you the combination. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're using it as a passing tone. This is how it's going to be formed. We got the F. We go up 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. B. That's your tritone. And the tritone is usually almost always coupled with a major chord in your right hand. So we do this A major. Okay? You got that?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if you can remember this, you should be able to remember the tritone in every single incident.
Now I have one question.
Okay.
Okay. What exercises would you use to enhance using the tritones?
Well, what I do when I'm warming up, I would just go up chromatically.
Okay.
And make sure that I can play them fluidly.
Okay.
The first thing you want to start doing is developing the fact that you can play the tritone and you know where they're at. Now this is the hardest tritone because it's kind of sneaky right here. So we go. So a good exercise would be, as we said in the video, these are your guns here.
Okay.
So we go. And we just go take it up.
Okay, so that would be the exercise for your left hand between the pinky and
right.
The pointer finger.
And then we couple it here with your right hand.
Majors all the way down.
Yep.
Okay.
You got to be able to just go all the way down. And go all the way up, too.
Now, and what, I have one more question. And
Okay.
what style of music would you use it in besides, would you use it in something like neo soul besides gospel, or is it just more
Good question. That's a good question.
Gospel?
This is really more in gospel. You wouldn't use it in the neo sense because neo doesn't get as crazy. It's more on the feel.
Okay.
So this is more straight gospel. So this is the first way to use the tritone. You couple it with this. So count this as your foundation and you remember this. F, B, D, A,
Okay.
and D flat. And so you know that every combination here is going to be like, okay?
Okay.
Now we're going to do examples later with different songs that's going to really demonstrate the tritone. Okay?
Now, I noticed one thing now.
Okay.
As you were doing those tritones,
Mhm.
every now and then, instead of using your pinky, you would use the finger right next to you.
Oh, that's a good one. Good observation. Because it's like running. It gives you momentum when you do it.
Okay.
So it's like it's
a speed thing.
It's a speed thing.
Okay.
So think about it. It's hard to slide your first finger over to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good point, actually.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I do. Because you have to lift up. So it gives you that lift when you... So we got the tritone like this.
Okay.
So where that will be used is circle of fifths.
Okay.
So the common circle of fifths. Now I'm going to change it up to the tritones.
Nice.
Now, this is the second tritone. The second tritone Now this one is used as a passing tone, okay? So we go from G to C to F. Now, the reason why we use that is because we substituted, and we substituted with the tritone.
Okay.
But then when I came here, this is a different tritone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another tritone you got to remember. So, we got the first tritone, which is used in passing tones.
And you can also use these in a circle of fourths.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, circle of fourths and cycle of fifths kind of the same.
It's
It's
the
just a
same.
matter, or fifth, fourth,
Okay.
like that. So, but then the next tritone we did in the circle of fifths is this tritone here. Normally, the tritone I showed you was like this, but then we switch it up like this.
No, what's the difference?
The difference is, in movement, is that this is used as a passing tone, and this is used as a root of the chord.
Okay.
So, for example, okay, in that movement in the circle of fifths, the goal is to get back to this F.
Mm-hmm.
The way we get to that F is G, C, F. But we could as easily went, so that's why it's used as a passing tone. So we use that tritone. So associated with this G to get to there is this tritone combination.
Okay.
Now, but this one is used as the one chord. So the root of this is A flat.
Okay.
So we use this one to get to this one. So let me explain that. Let me use something. Passing tone. The reason why this is the root is because we're actually going to hit the A flat.
Okay.
So to substitute that 5-1, we play this tritone. That's the second way to use the tritone.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now we got the first way, passing tones. Then we got the second way, where it's just used as the root. That's what we did in the beginning of the prayer. We went, see?
Okay. So the tritones are basically good ways to get to the root of where you're trying to get.
Yep.
G, C, F, right?
Yep.
So you're trying to just find, like you said in the beginning, a fat way
Yep.
to get to your root.
Let me show you two examples on what you just said. Holy is the Lord. See what I'm saying? So the third way to use it is, you know how you do that with all these majors?
Uh-huh.
Perfect way to use the tritone is with that.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
You hear that? You hear that a lot, don't you?
A lot, yeah.
A lot of organ players play that. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, I'm in the key of E flat now. They're going to say, how do you know which tritone to go with it? Well, if you're in the key of E flat, the tritone to use for a funky way of what I just did is to use a whole step down. Now form your tritone.
Okay.
The beauty of the tritone is if you go 3 steps up or 3 steps back, you're still going to be on the tritone. So watch. If I'm on here, 1, 2, 3, or we can take it 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
See, if you go 3 up or 3 back, you're still hitting the
Still
same
on the
tritone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna want that one though.
I hear
So
that
let
a
me
whole
do
lot.
that one. Yeah. They're gonna want
again.
that one. So what we did here, we took this tritone, played an E flat chord. So G, and then the D flat. Then we played a regular E flat chord, B flat chord over here. So all we did was walk the tritone down. So I'm gonna do it real slow for them. Or holy, holy, holy. See, like that. So another way to do the tritone is to just add instant fatness. You can actually play a whole song with the tritone. You could be like, so that's the beauty of the tritone.
I love
right
the
there.
tritones because it gives you your own personality. It changes the way that you're interpreting that song. It's
Right.
not just so bland.
Right, and then like it just adds an instant, ear candy, so to
Yeah.
speak. And the thing about it, you usually couple that if you notice the different ways I use the tritones, or it's always coupled with a major chord.
Okay.
So if you look at it in theory aspect, a major chord by itself is boring.
Right.
The tritone comes along and adds flavor to it.
Okay.
So it's like, between the ditone and that tritone, that's what you add the thickness. That's the foundation of the fatness.
Okay.
So you seen how you just walk that down?
Okay. So that's
Okay.
easy enough. You just couple in with your major 1 3 5.
Yep.
And then with your left hand.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and then in the booklet that we have, we'll give different examples on how to couple that in the book that we have.
Okay.
So the main exercises to do would be just practice them all day long.
Once you get it down, you can pretty much go
Yep.
anywhere with it.
Right, and then you can get creative with the tritones too. Instead of going, you can actually, since it's the major, you can, or these are all majors.
So it fits. Every
yeah.
Every major chord you hit.
As long as you move in whole steps.
Oh.
Hit it like that. Yeah.
So is that how? I don't know if this is a crazy question, but
Go ahead.
A bass player can pretty much stay on that F. So say you're
There
doing
you
your
go.
tritone and
Yeah.
it's an F in that third of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And the keyboard player can move wherever he wants on the keyboard in whole steps.
As long as he stays
As
on
long
that.
as he stays on that.
Exactly.
That route.
That's what gives it
Okay.
the flavor. Yep.
Okay.
And that's the thing. You got to talk with your bass player. If you got a busy bass player, tritones is not. This is not. That's not going to work. Your bass player got to make sure he. So you can do it the 3 different ways: the passing tone way, or the 1, or we can do it the way that we talked about when we move those majors.
So tritones are really important, I guess, in the sense if you're playing with a bass player, because I hear a lot of keyboard players that I play with,
Yeah.
they say, well, you can hit that root, whatever note it is,
Right.
and I can play any note, any chord I want in the whole steps or whatever, because
Right.
it's going to match either where it goes.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So,
All right.
so the exercise that you want to do is you want to practice doing these tritones in this sequence here,
Mhm.
with the F and B,
Mhm.
E, A, D flat. So what we're going to do later, we're going to show some examples, and we're going to fit the
Okay.
tritones in the musical setting. So appreciate that, Todd.
All right.
All right, thanks.
problem.
Okay, now the next trick I want to show you to instantly fatten up your sound is, I call this, I don't even know what I call it, but it's playing the note right next to the other note. You can use this if you're playing a major 7th. Mainly it's a major 7th, and let me show you what I'm talking about. If you're playing like, let's do a C sharp major 7th. Now, your bottom note here on the thumb is your A flat. I did a double inversion, C sharp major 7th. Now, to add a crazy fatness to your sound, just play that G. It doesn't sound good initially, but after in the mix, it sounds really crazy. Let me show you an example of that. We're going to do something. We're going to do something in, let's go in C sharp. We're going to do a hump in C sharp, and I'm going to play these 2 major 7ths. This is E major 7th and the D major 7th. And I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go back and forth, but I'm going to play that note right next to it. And I'm going to give you an example of how that does to your ear. So we're going to do like a little hump on C sharp. 1, 2, ready, go. Break it down. Thanks, fellas. I learned this by accident, honestly. I was in church one day, and I was playing this major 7th, and I accidentally played that, and my friend looked over at me and was like, no, keep that, keep that. And I started recognizing that if you start playing these diminishes, and you play the note right next to it, because of the harmonics of a half note, it gives it like a fat kind of feel. And we're going to show you more of that in some of the examples. Another way to couple that is instead of playing that major 7th here, you can substitute that with a F major. So we do something like that. Now, more and more in the examples as we use the songs, I'm going to show you more examples of how we do that. But if you use like a major 7th, now give me a hump on E flat. 1, 2, ready, go. So if you play a G flat major 7th, and you play that note right next to it, so that's what I noticed on Kiera Sheard on her album. She does a song like, she does the same kind of tricks where you take that note right next to the chord you're playing, and you instantly can fatten up your sound. So what we're going to do later is we're going to give you different examples in different songs that we do, and we're going to demonstrate all of this. Okay, now what we're going to we're moving into the second phase of the lessons. I've given you some foundational chords. I've given you that major 7th, the thickness of the major 7th. I've given you the ditone. I've given you the tritone. Now we're starting to move a little forward in the DVD, and we're going to move more towards substitutions or progressions, substitutions and progressions. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you a substitution for that circle of fifths. Okay. Now this is the next level of the DVD, so I'm assuming that the people who have this DVD know the circle of fifths. If you don't, get the first DVD, okay? So we're going to be in the key of A flat again. You always hear the circle of fifths. So now let me give you a little substitutions to go along with this circle of fifths, okay? Let's see, how do we flip the circle of fifths? So we know we're going on these movements, right? So sometimes what I do on that second chord, I play this chord right here. That's an A flat, D, and then the right hand is going to be a C major, and you add that G. So it's like G, C, E, G. So instead I'm going... So I know you don't really want to, you're sick of playing the regular. So what we did here, we just added that tritone again, right over here on the second one. And then when we went back to the A flat, so I can actually go. Okay, so another remix, me and the fellas, a lot of people have been asking us for grooves at offering time and different grooves and hits. So what we're going to do is show you a neo way to do the circle of fifths. So we do something like... Now the trick to this one is instead of going to that, we actually go to the D on that chord. So instead of going, we actually go. Now we're going to start showing you that trick, showing you this trick later when we get into the neo portion. But so the bass movement goes, instead of F to the B flat, it goes F, D, E flat, A flat, D flat. So it's... Now, all I'm playing are those, remember those major sevenths on steroids? Let me go. Now, after we went to the D flat, we kind of took it up a half step to the D. So let me show you all together. Now notice this is definitely cheating. I'm playing like two chords with both thumbs. I'm playing the D and the E and the F and the G with two thumbs. So we went. This chord is A flat, E flat, A, C, F, A flat. Then we play the D flat, and then the A flat. The right hand we go C, E flat, F, A flat. And then there's that ditone. That's where it comes in. So we go to the D and F sharp. Then we go to the C, F, and B flat. Now, instead of going back to this, when we go, I take it a half step up. Now, normally, instead of going, I would play this B flat major 7th to get into the next one. But to make it jazzy, I do a half step up. I go. So we do the whole movement. Ditone. Then I go. I actually go up to like F sharp. So that's a trick you can start using is, instead of, if this is your destination chord, take it a half step up and then come down. So we go, all right, let me show you that one. So now, what we did on the circle of fifths, we went F to D, E flat, play the F chord here, A flat, passing tone on the ditone. That's a B major 7th. And I roll this A flat into the B flat to give it that. Now, instead of going back, when I went back to the F, I played a F major. That's what gives it a real... So one of the things you can do, you can replace this A flat major 7th with like a F major chord. So let's do that again real slow. So if you notice the type of feel, and we're not going to get into the neo just yet, but feel is very important. If you notice, I roll my fingers a lot. Let's do that. Let's do that again, and I want you to watch my fingers on this one. One, dun, dun. See how I roll? Layer it up. Here's the major. I'm sure you was able to catch all that because we had to go real slow. We got the chord sheet with you, but I wanted to demonstrate more of the movement. So you can take that and then you can also use that as a groove if you're doing offering or while the pastor is talking or something like that. So we're trying to move you into more of a jazzy feel. We're giving you more of a jazz or move you more into jazz and showing you more how we work this new age with the jazz and the neo soul. So that is a remix of the Circle of Fifths. You can play it that way. Now what we're going to start doing, we did the Circle of Fifths remix. Now we're going to do the 2-5-1. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to show you little hints of it because when we get into the songs, we're really going to demonstrate this. So what is the 2-5-1? Let's go to D flat, C sharp. C sharp scale. So what the 2 would be is the 2 of the scale, which is the E flat. 3, 4, 5, 1. So it's a common. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give you different examples on how to go to the 2-5-1. So here's the normal way to go to the 2-5-1. Okay? Now let me show you how to really go to that 2-5-1 real funky. So we can go. Let me show you that. Left hand is going to be E flat, B flat. Right hand is just going to be a regular D flat, F sharp, B flat, and then we hit the tritone again, which is the F sharp, C, the F major chord. So that's another 2-5-1. Another way we can do the 2-5-1 is very jazzy, real ugly like that. So let me show you that one. So we remember F sharp major 7th on steroids. So we took this down. I got to show you this chord here. The left hand is going to be A flat, E flat. The right hand is going to be F sharp, B, and then we hit that E. And then we hit that A flat, and then this last chord is, so we stretched out that C sharp, or D flat, A flat, E flat, and then we hit that F, B flat, D flat, and then G. Add that off, so he's, or instead of playing that, you can actually end that one on an F chord. So you can go. That's real jazzy. So you got to make sure that it fits with the contents of the song and that you can fit it in. But another way to do it is, and all I hit here. So we went major 7th, F sharp major 7th. Then I hit that F right here, and I added that B flat, so we're going to A flat, E flat, A, C, F, A flat. And that's just an F chord, and I layered the F with that G. So, or another way is to just use the relative minor way, and let me show you that. Step by step, because I know you want that one. So we really went to the key of E, because in D flat, E is the relative minor, and we're going to do a song just in the relative minors to show you that power. So we went here, F sharp, then we went C sharp, then we went A flat. The right hand, I'm thumbing the A and the B together. Then we'll go to the C sharp, E, A flat, then we go to that B. So it's all I'm doing. Remember the power of the major seventh on steroids. All I did was just go down. That's all I did. Now what I did there, I tricked it. Remember, to get to your destination, you can play a half step before. So if this is my destination, let me go here as a passing tone to get to it. So it's like. So we went, showed you this chord, E flat, B flat, F, G flat, D flat, F, A flat. Then we went down, major seventh on steroids again. Okay, those are some ways you can get to the 251. I tried to go as crazy as I could to get to the 251 because this is an advanced video, and I wanted you to just get as crazy as you want it. Now, another thing I do, instead of going on this second one, when you go here, play this. Now, you know we're going to the E, right? After we go. Now, take this E and make it a tritone, and then layer it. You notice that's one of my styles that I actually cross my fingers over. That's just something I do to give it that feel. So we can actually, instead of going, we can go. Look at all these notes. Let's see what we got here. Left hand is going to be E and B flat on the tritone. Then we put the thumb. We play that G and that A. Then we go D, and then we go to the F sharp and go to that A again. So we went. Let me get this last note again. C sharp, A flat, E flat, F, B flat, D flat, G. And those are some of the substitutions that you can use to get to the 251. So instead of going, you can go. Or. Now, another progression we want to show you to add that instant urban feel is to substitute the 1 for the 6. Let's go to the key E flat, okay? E flat scale. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. Now, what we can do sometime, to keep it going, we can substitute the 1 for the 6. So we can go. So let's do a vamp. We're going to go to F, G. So notice how that 6 gives you that feel. So what we can do is when we have a song like you can end on that 6, and when we end on that 6, we go. So to add that instant, I guess, R&B-ish type of feel, what we want to do is we start to take the chords that we normally do, but we flip it just a little bit. So a good change would be to change the 1 to the 6. The 1 being the E flat and the 6 being the C. Now we couple that C with that major 7th. Remember the major 7th on steroids we showed you? Or scrunch it together? That's nothing more than a E flat major 7th. Sounds like you're going to end it, but you end on that 6. So that's another one of the movements that you want to start adding to your vocabulary. Instead of going to the 1, you can go to the 6 with that E flat major 7. Now another substitution we can show you is the flatted 7. So let's go to E flat. The 7 is the D. The flatted 7 would be the C sharp or the D flat. So normally we would go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the 5th. Now sometimes we can replace the 5th or even sometimes the 1 with a flatted 7. And we're going to show you this later in examples. So 2 ways to use the flatted 7th. The first way is to substitute the 1 for the flatted 7. So let's just walk something up. Go to the C sharp. So what we can do is replace that 1 chord to the flatted 7. It kind of leaves it off hanging. Well, let me show you the chord that goes along with that. Now we got the D flat, right? We couple that with the A flat and the E flat. 2 different ways you can play the chord in your right hand. You can play your F, B flat, E flat as a suspended, or you can play the C, F, and B flat. So what I like to do is to, let me show you what I did. Play that B flat suspended. I'm just going up and suspended. Now another way we can substitute that flatted 7th, we can substitute that with the 5. So instead of playing that B flat, which is the 5, we can play that suspended. That gives it more of a neo feel. It gives it more of a jazzy kind of feel, but it's more neo. So what we're going to start showing you in some of the examples of the songs is how we replace that 5 and that 1 with the flatted 7. I want to show you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement. Now what that is we started, let's go to C sharp, D flat. Go with me. Now you hear that in a lot of songs. One of the songs, as I mentioned, is because of who you are, because of who you are, I give you glory. Now what I want to show you is like the neo way to play this. Now what we're going to start doing is scrunching our fingers together. So one way to play that is the open way. But to give it that neo feel, what we want to do is play clusters, and we'll get into clusters a little later. So we scrunch our fingers together like this. So that 1 would be the D flat, A flat. Then we go D flat, E flat, F, A flat. So we can even add that B flat to scrunch it together. So we like this. So the next chord would be E flat, B flat, and then E flat again. Then we do a major 7th again over here, which is the F sharp major 7th, but we start on the F, F sharp, then we go to the B flat, and then we go to the E flat, but we can even scrunch it even closer and just do clusters. So we go, suspend it, we go to F, C, and then E flat, A flat, D flat, then we go to the G flat, and the D flat, then we go F, A flat, B flat, D flat. Like this. We go to A flat, E flat, then we go F sharp, A flat, B flat, C sharp. So we go. Now notice the movements that I make. I kind of, now let me give you, this is a good take to show you on the kneel. What we do is we clump our stuff together. Keep all the movements really close to give it that warm feel. Now I'm going to change something up on the 3. So we go to the 1, the 2. Now you're going to play like an A flat major 7th on the 3, just to change it up a little bit. Now notice how I just slide this like this. When I went to the 4, you slide that E into the F. So it's A flat major 7. So I'm showing you different variations. You play that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the time on different songs, but this is a good opportunity for you to throw in some of that neo kind of feel when you do this. Close the movements together, or major 7. Now what I want to show you is another movement. The reason why I added this movement, it's kind of a diminished movement. I added this because you hear it a lot, and I remember when I was learning how to play, it was kind of hard to find this movement. So this movement right here, you got to add that to your repertoire. And the thing about this movement, it's a way to get back to the 2. So instead of going to the 3, 6, 2, go to the 4, 6. So the way that movement goes, you would substitute this for the 3, 6, and you would add the 4, 6. So instead of going to the 3, 6, you would actually do the 4, 6, 2. And the movement on the 4 is an A diminished. And then on the 6, you do an A flat diminished. And then you add the F. So instead of doing a regular movement when you go, that's that movement, the 4, 6. Now, if we want to go to the 3, 6, I'm going to show you a tritone that you can get to the 3, 6. So that 3, 6 will be the F and the B flat, and then we go back to the 2. So we go to the 3, 6, 2. We can go. So let me show you this tritone. In the left hand, you're going to be E flat, and then we go to the A. Then your right hand is just going to be D, G, and a B. And then we move up chromatically. So we go like this. 1, 2, ready. Tritone, you can actually, instead of just going up like this, you can go down. Another way to do that 3/6 is to add that major 7th on steroids again. Let me show you that. That's F, C, G, A flat, E flat, G, B flat. So you move it. Your left hand is going to be B flat, F. So you just move this over to the, you're going to do A flat, then you go to the D, then you hit this finger on the F sharp, so you just move these two. So it's... So we just wanted to give you some different movements instead of going to the or. It may sound simple, but this is definitely, see, even 2 chords can change up your whole style. So if you just played it normal, so you're trying to figure out what you can use to actually fill up your sound instead of going. Show you what I did there, because I know you're going to want that. All I did, instead of taking this tritone here, I just took it up a half step. Remember I told you to memorize those tritones? The F sharp tritone, to go with that is the B flat major, so it's so we went. To show you something to separate that 3/6, because the 3/6-2 is a very popular gospel movement. I wanted to give you some different ways to do the 3/6-2. Okay, now what we're going to show you now is a very jazzy movement. You wouldn't want to use this every single time, but you definitely want to add this to your repertoire. So some of the movements we do after the song is ending, we might go 3/6-2. Now that movement, you see that a lot. Everybody uses that movement. Dorinda Clark's, her DVD, she does a little flow in that movement. And you know what? Let me change the sound here just to... And let me show you what I'm going to show you as far as the movement. We're going to go to that movement. We're in C sharp. Right there, I want to show you. So instead of going to that C sharp major 7th, you can actually go to that jazzy. It's more of a, you did a substitution, you can do a suspended chord. It's almost like a B flat major. And so do something for me. Just groove on B flat for me. 1, 2, ready, go. Break it down. As you can see, all I'm doing is substituting this C sharp major 7th with this chord right here. And that gives you that real jazzy feel. Take it. Break it down. And let me show you what I'm doing in my right hand. A little bit in my right hand. All I'm doing is using the same chords that I have. Take it up. Okay. So as you can see, you can replace that C sharp major 7th with that chord we showed you here. So we minimal movements here to add a nice jazzy feel to your sound. And all I did was layer the same chord. Another movement I want to show you is the 2-6 movement. Let's go back to, we're kind of going to stay in the E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it's C sharp, relative minor. So we're going C sharp. So the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to show you the 2-6 with the diminish. It's a real easy movement. So what you do is a F sharp major 7th. And you go to the A flat diminish. And you hear this in a lot of Hezekiah Walker stuff. He takes it fast. 1, 2, ready, go. So I had to show you that because you hear that in a lot of gospel movements, and you can actually use this as good talk music. If the pastor's up and he's worshiping, you can just go. Let me show you a little bit of flavor to that. So when we go to that diminished, which is a A flat diminished, we can actually roll the F down to the D. To give it that feel. So Hezekiah Walker, like I said, he uses this in a lot of movements. And I wanted to give you some more talk music. This also can be used as talk music. So you can just sit here, F sharp major 7th. So that's just the 2-6 movement that I wanted to show you. It's significant enough. Then you can take this diminish all the way up. So that's the 2-6 movement with the diminish. Okay, another movement I wanted to show you. Like I said, this DVD is going to be full of tricks that you can use throughout your music. We're going to be in C sharp again. And one of the movements that you hear all the time is a nice intro. Now I'm going to show you a flip that you can use. So what we do, that's the regular A flat to the C sharp. Left hand is B flat F. Right hand is A flat C, E flat, A flat. Then you go to the regular C sharp, so it's left hand is E flat, B flat, F, A flat, B flat, C sharp, F. So we go. This is the regular way. That's the regular way. Now we're going to flip it. Now we're using the same tools. The reason why we built the tools up in the beginning is to show you where to place it. So now what we're going to do for this one, we're going to go to the 3, 6, and then the flat at 5. And we're going to use all major chords. So we're going to go A flat major 7th here. So we're going to go. I'm going to show you how to layer that. So what we're going to do, we're going to do that A flat major 7th, C sharp major 7th, then B flat major 7th. So we go. Let me show you the chorus of that. The bass is going to go F, B flat, G. So I'm going to play Left hand is going to be E flat, G, A flat, C. Then you layer it like I do, B flat, E flat, and then G. Left hand A flat, C, D flat, E flat with the right hand. And your left hand still's going on this F. And then I'm going E flat, A flat, C. And then I roll this F into this G. Actually, I roll it all the way to the A. So we go F, and then we go A, then we go B flat, then we go D, and then we go. It's gonna be kind of hard doing that, because when you first learn it, I'm doing it fast because I've done it, but it's very hard to time it, because you gotta almost keep your hands like this and go. So let's do the regular way, fellas, and show them the remix. 1, 2. The regular way. Remix. Regular way. Remix. Okay, so I just wanted to show you different jazz movements. You can use that as walking music, even talk music. And the movement is very important with this. But we're not going to get into that just yet, because I got a whole section on neo, soul, and jazz. So that's another movement you can use for introduction. Now what we're going to move into, I know it might have started off slow, but now we're moving into the more advanced neo-soul type of tricks. Like I said, you got people like Tone, Ty Tribbett, all the new gospel artists coming out. And sometimes if you have youth choirs and different things like that, you want to be able to, keep up with that style. And so we want to show you some of the foundations to this new neo-soul. And one of the foundations, the major foundations, is called clusters. We tapped into it a little bit, but I didn't give you the full gamut of these clusters. Now let me show you what clusters are. Clusters are the notes that basically what they look like. They look like clusters. You might have a F, G flat, A flat, B flat going into this, C, C sharp, E flat, F, and now these clusters can replace a major seventh. So if you got a C sharp major seventh, that you take the second inversion and go like this. I'm sorry, F sharp major seventh. You take that second inversion. Now remember what I told you on the first lessons on the major seventh. If you're playing that F sharp major seventh, your bass to go along with that jazzy feel is going to be your E flat. Now what we can do is add the clusters like this. That's another replacement. Your bass is still here on the E flat, but now you cluster that together. Now let me show you that feel. Just bounce on B flat for me, and I'm gonna show them that feel. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now all I did was I just moved these clusters up, and then I moved it here, and I just stayed here. Now you ask me how do I know which clusters go with which bass and stuff like that? Well, if you look at the chords here, I really should have told them to bounce on that E flat, because when you look at E flat, you can bounce on that F sharp major seventh. So for example, if you're grooving in E flat, you take it a half step down, or you take it 2 steps up to the F sharp, and you play the F sharp major 7th. So if you're grooving with that type of style, more of a minorish in E flat, you can kind of play that F sharp major 7th with the note next to it like I showed you. The reason why you can get away with that is because if you look at the blues scale of E flat, it's almost looking like an F sharp, okay? So what we're going to use on that is groove on E flat, and I'm going to show them the same movement. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, break. Now, if you really want to take it out, let's do a shout. We're going to do a shout in E flat, okay? But kind of just groove in E flat. Don't bum, 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 bum. Just stay on the E flat. We're kind of as if we're coming out of a shout and we're kind of grooving. So let's go into a regular shout, then we'll go into that. 1, 2, ready, go. Sharp major 7. All right. So, you know, you don't have to necessarily play the shouts like everybody else. You can always change it up. And these clusters give you a nice little feel. Let me show you one more cluster in a common key. Say we go to the key of D. Yeah, we went to D. That's right. You got to know all your keys. So we're going to D, right? Well, D minor is kind of the same as F major in a sense. So let's do that, and let's do the same thing in D, but we're going to go real slow. 1, 2, ready, go. So you can take those clusters, and all I'm doing is playing every note, every whole step in front of it. Now, here I did the half step because you got to know that your root is your B flat major 7th. So you take that B flat major 7th and just cluster this baby. Now, you know you couldn't cluster with this because that's not in the key of where we're at. So basically, you take the key, when we were in D, and we take the key, then we just cluster it with it. Now, another thing I want to show you with these major 7ths is the movements to make it really neo-soulish. So we take these movements, we'll go back to the E flat major 7th. Now, if we move it, remember we always work from the second inversion, so your fingers can go like this. If we move this down a step and a half, well, actually 1, 1, 2, 2.5 steps. So that gives it more of a neo kind of feel if you move in cycle of, I guess, 3.5 steps. So the step movement would be here, then we take it down to that F right here, then now, to add a little more of that feel, I'm going to show you about these grace notes. Now, this grace note, right here playing this E flat major 7th, this grace note, you can kind of, let's see, why do I hit that? Well, if you look at the notes in the scale, you kind of roll it here. That's how to roll that. You got to roll it like this. So that neo soul feel is more on feel and color. So we did that movement, but then we added a little bit extra. Now, if you notice, I layer a lot. I layer a lot, and I also don't hit my notes the same time. I go like this. I roll it like that. All I am is moving in half steps on that major seventh. That's all I do. That's what gives you that feel. Let's do that movement again. Grace notes. Watch the grace notes. Okay. Now, those movements, you're going to hear those an awful lot in different neo-soul kind of cuts. You hear those in breaks. And so what I want to get you is to structure those fingers with this neo kind of vibe. Let me show you the chord one more time. E flat, G, A flat. Then we go to the C. Then you layer that with a E flat major or scrunch it together. And you're moving whole steps, and it gives you that neo kind of feel. Now, what we want to extend into the neo soul kind of feel, we're going to give you a little bit of the jazz chords. And that lies in those suspended chords. We talked about those suspended chords in the beginning a little bit, but I want to go a little more into this. That really gives you this real off kind of jazzy feel. So we talk about this suspended chord. You got to play it with your left hand, by the way. Always play your suspended chords with your left hand because it leaves your right hand free for the solo. What's the suspended chord? Well, if we do a G suspended, we'll do that A, D, and G. And if you move the suspended chord in whole steps, so it gives you that real off feel. Now I want to show you something that I've always tried to figure out when I was younger, trying to figure out what in the heck are they doing. So I'm going to show you something. Now, this is crazy. We are in the key, I'm going to really explain this. We are in the key of F sharp, okay? And which is really the relative minor of A. Yes, we are playing in A. So we are really in A, okay? Now, the reason why these work, let me show you the tricks. So we look at the blues scale. Which is really the key of A. The relative minor is F sharp minor. So, what happens is that when you're in this bluesy scale, you can play the suspended chord that has some of the notes in the scale. Notice. So you kind of play like this off kind of. So you move a third. You move it, actually 1, 2, 2.5 steps up, and you get that chord there. So if you want to think of a pattern, think of this as a pattern. So say we're grooving in F sharp, right? You want to play the suspended chord that's associated with this A, D, and that G. Now, what I do in my right hand, I support what I did in my left hand with like a E bluesy scale kind of scale. So let's look at this. We got the A, we got the D, we got the G, and then I kind of go. So I go E, G, A, B. All I did was move everything up a whole step. So let me show you that in the context. Let's go, let's hump on F sharp. 1, 2, ready, go. Now when you're humping on F sharp, what you want to play is that A major 7th. Layer it right here with the thumb. Now another thing I like to do, keep going. Now if I know I'm playing this major 7th, a good way to do your solos is to solo your chord. So this major 7, just solo it. Tritone, break it down. Let me show you this tritone. Keep going. And then we go to F and the B. Now normally the tritone would be, but take it up. Break it down. Now we wanted to give you that real off kind of feel. So all we did, we just grooved here, played that A major 7th, layered it with that B. Remember the tricks I showed you with the note next to it? Now let me show you the suspended. A, D, G, then I'm hitting that E, G, B, then I just move everything over. Take it up. Now I heard this a while ago when it was about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, when I was really trying to listen to people like Herbie Hancock and how they got that feel, how did they get that? And what you have to do, when you remember the chords that I show you, you should be able to apply it in every single key. Now if we're grooving, so you would think to yourself, if we're grooving in F sharp, right? Some of the movements I showed you was the A major 7th, and notice how I laid it. And then we show you this crazy suspended thingy. Just take it down. And so now we're starting to show you more of that neo-soul kind of jazzy feel, to just change your style just a little bit. You can even do it in shouting if you want to get crazy. Really take it out there. So I definitely wanted to show you that. I know you're going to be using that all the time. Remember, you know, the purpose of playing is ultimately to give God the glory. So you don't want to just get busy, but when it's time for you to go, you got to take it out. Now, I want to show you something. Now, the reason everybody asks me, why didn't you use a weighted keyboard? Well, first, most people don't have weighted keyboards. So I want to use what you actually use on Sunday morning or when you're traveling on a session or something like that. I got an ES7 right here, and I want to show you the tricks. Now, the program I've been using for my piano is a piano that I give free on the first Urban Worship DVD. It's a sample that I load. The second one I use is actually the Rhodes that I use is the Preset 131 Hard. It's called Hard Vintage. Now, I got to show you a trick on how to get this to sound like a real Rhodes. Now, you go to your utility mode, and you go to hit SF2 on your keyboard, and you see up there where it says your velocity curve. You want to change your velocity curve to hard. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because what it creates, it changes the velocity curve such that when you hit the keys, you can actually hear the different samples. This one sound is made of 3 different samples. And the key to getting that vintage, urban worship, that neo-soul kind of feel is to... See, when I do this, I'm conscientious of the fact that I'm hitting the notes at a certain velocity to get out a certain sound. So like if I play low, it's actually a different sample every time I do that. So when you're not playing with a weighted keyboard and you're playing with a non-weighted keyboard, change your velocity to hard such that it's not as hard when you play the notes harder, because you might be used to playing a weighted key. So that is a definitely big trick to use when you're playing a non-weighted key and you're actually playing a Rhodes, or you're trying to get that feel. Go into utility mode and change your velocity to hard, and it'll make it sound more like a real Rhodes so you can get that expression that you need.